It's a chair with these empty, it also has a solution. Oh, you were here.
You were here last week, but you're new.
Yes. Yeah. You came here from.
Durham.
Oh, to school.
No, my partner was doing the postdoc there, and she got back to the position.
Oh, okay.
I didn't bring. It's always some hands-on theology.
Okay. And you went.
Or soon as we were supposed to be. Oh,
And that's.
it's
She does a lot of.
okay. My partner's on the medical doctor. She put me in research.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're for.
I think we wanted to do.
And this thing, yeah.
Really. She like it so far?
She got some questions though. She wants to stay in academia.
Oh.
She likes the group. There's bigger questions about the path that she wants to be.
Yeah, well, you, of course, that is.
Okay, so
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking, oh, go there, no computer, grab a computer, go, get out of here.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Right.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it's about. Well, see guys. Hello. I'm recruiting from outside.
I would say, yeah, you would be going out of the street, yeah.
Exactly. It's okay, I know I'm supposed to be out there. Yeah, come on, hey, you got like Carol. Okay, we got Roz and Mark, Harvey. What's along? That's sort of accounting. Oh, wait, that's fine. There's one in our policy. Eight, nine, watch along. I'm kind of starting. Not myself, very, the juries, we have time without me, David, because I've been, David's been doing stuff with me for the last couple of hours. So you're welcome to stay in the back, you're welcome to stay. David. I'm gonna grab the one thing and I'll put that without promising up on startup.
Is there much of the Jewish community that actually take a lot? There are a number of things. There's a guy, so my home is conservative children. I also have a lot of small meeting that there as well, and there is also reconstruction children chapel. The form that not having my life. A lot of you know, it's
Yeah.
so you know, because it's a mistake, they would everything else. New job. But she and I got to know each other since. And she one person used that because of this. You know, they have that. You know, she was so excited about all. And that's no one ever my told you. There it is. We're in the same. Right. We got to read. And was it the matter?
Yeah.
Didn't know your first off like you
Yeah.
Rather than going.
Sure.
I can't speak to the dogs. I used to go where it's
Community is a friend
so it's either like cabinets or
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
I discussed this.
I just want a chance. Yeah, it is. Okay. No. Have we talked about this? Okay. This is no weird. Hello, hello, actually, especially. Did you grab it? 2009. So after so now, okay. This so see it. Yeah. We're all
Right, it's right.
I better get on.
Yeah. I work in global public health, so I work remotely.
Well, you know, I mean, I spend a lot of time. I was just always. I feel more in the situation whenever to.
It's big conference.
Probably one country, that's what I was. People they say someone on Susan is in. It's security or something like that. Certainly, I see people speaking English, conservative, so it's. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But it's a simple, it doesn't. So. Thanks for art.
So I'm gonna honor my wife since I couldn't find, even though it was hiding in plain sight, since I couldn't find my talit, I had to go get one of my backup talits. And this was a talit I bought. I haven't worn it in a very long time. I bought it when I got married, or maybe just before, but I bought it because I married a redhead and I wanted to honor her, and I'd never seen a red talit. So I haven't worn it in a long time. So I will wear honor Lynn today. And I was just talking to the young man who was here earlier about said, I'm a romantic. I believe love can change your life. You know, and I really am. I'm like, feel like
Brad and I,
go chase love.
Brad and I were just talking about the word serendipity.
Absolutely. You know, I'm like, you know, I can't tell you how often I'm like working with couples who are getting married and I say, where do you meet? And they're like, do you want the story we tell everyone? And I was like, or you met online? And they're like, yes, we met online. So the story we tell everyone is a little bit more romantic. And I'm like, it's okay. Tell the rabbi, it's okay to meet someone online. But you're right, serendipity. I met my wife at a wedding. So it's nice. Very nice. I mean, I was going for him and he made me a good best man, and she was going for her and she was maid of honor. So that marriage didn't work out, but Lynn and I are going strong. Is that what serendipity means, Art? Yeah, I'll tell them that sometime. It was beshert that you guys went through all of that just so Lynn and I could meet each other. Shabbat shalom. Thanks for your patience. And, you know, thanks for making community today. Last week, there was someone here, and I really respect what she said afterward. She said to me afterward, I was really distressed that you didn't talk about Israel. And I told her that I do go by the tradition, and I hope I'm not disappointing anybody, that on Friday night, one really doesn't. That it is, there's an, and maybe this is my Devar, it's not Devar Torah, but maybe this is my Devar Tefillah for tonight. My message is for that there is this structure in the Jewish day, and many of us already know it, but it's always good to be reminded of it. The Jewish day starts at sunset, and we're inaugurating it today. And every day begins in that way at this time with love and gratitude and beauty. And then you move from that place of trying to accept the world as it is, as beautiful. We all know that we're doing Shabbat because after 6 days, I should say the day, when I'm saying the day, I mean a holy day, like Shabbat or a holiday. I don't mean a Tuesday night. You start the holy day with even God could stop changing things and saying, you have to be able to look at it and say, it's beautiful the way it is, even with everything in it. You can't always start from the place of it needs fixing. So that the Jewish day works by beginning with chesed, by embracing hours and hours and hours of a loving kindness toward yourself, towards the world, toward changing your perspective, inviting that in, being filled with that spirit. And then in the morning, that's why we don't get out the Torah at night. Then in the morning, we get out the Torah. And when we take out the Torah, it is the shift of the energies. It's the shift of the energy to coming from a place where I've been filled with that view. Now, what in the world needs to change? How can I, from that place of love and loving kindness toward myself and toward the world, say, now where do we need to change? Where do we bring judgment into chesed? Where do we bring din and gevura into it? So now we channel that from into the pool that was love. And then in the afternoon, the Amidah, one of these days, make me teach it. Maybe I'll do it in the Kabbalat class. I'll teach the Kabbalistic progression through the special blessings of the Amidah through Shabbat. And in the Mincha for Shabbat, Amidah, you then change into a place where you're balancing the two of them. So in that sense, I'm strict about that. So at night, we're only going to get to a good place tomorrow, thinking about Israel and thinking about conflict and war and justice, if we can start from a place with filling ourselves with love and accepting and beauty. And that's not cowardice. That's a place of knowing where to ground oneself before one can really do the work. So forgive me if I'm not going to read a prayer for the freedom of the liberating of the hostages, and I will do that tomorrow, and I'll be talking about those things tomorrow. But for tonight, I want to invite in the spirit of not of brokenness, but of wholeness. My wife taught me when she introduced me to her field of marriage and family counseling, that she said, well, I have a systems approach. And I'm like, I don't know what a systems approach is. My approach to psychology is you're broken, you go in and you tell the therapist to fix you and fix what ails you. And she's like, no, we all live in systems. And I was like, oh, you mean dysfunctional systems and functional systems? And she said, no, any system that's functioning is functional. So why would you call it dysfunctional? So it's about that. Even the system that's happening in this world today, it's a system. And we're going to need to work from where we're at now and take it forward. So we have to start from a sense of the wholeness of it. So let's start with page. I should have had it a second ago. I was going to start with page 5, but since I talked so much, let's start with the Yedid Nefesh. So, Mark, you're probably in a different Siddur. It's on page 10. I always have something. Okay, I was going to say, Mark, give me the page. Yedid Nefesh, page 10. Yedid Nefesh, Av HaRachaman, compassionate Father, Mishoch Avdah, Eritzonah. Yarutz avdach kemo ayam yishtachave mul hadara ki yerav lo yedidutach mino betzuv vechol ta'am Adonai ziv haolam nafshi cholat ahavata ana elna refana la beharot la noam ziva אז תתחזק ותתרפא והייתה לה שפחת עולם ותקיימו רחמך וחוסנה בין אוהבה כי זה כמה נחשף לראות בתפארת וזב. אנא אלי מחמד ליבי חושנה ואל תתעלם יגאלנה ופרוס חביב עלי את סוכת שלומך תאיר ארץ מכבודך נגילה ונשמחה בך מהר אהוב טיבה מועד וחנני כי מעולם Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da. Page 11, we do the psalm of arriving at the threshold to the beginning of Shabbat. Lechu niranena ladonai nariha litzor yishenu nikadma fanav betohodam bizmirot narihalo. We continue either in the Hebrew, or I'm going to read from Miriam Khalfi's poem on the bottom left. I found myself yearning without any threshold, no threshold at which to stop, no threshold for peace. So I created within me thresholds to stop and to see. I inscribed within myself stairs to see heaven. An array of peace touched me. Continue on the next page, heading down to 5 lines from the bottom. Arba'im shana akut bedor v'omar amto elev avhem v'hem lo yadu Dirachai. We'll continue right on. V'jiro narihalo. Shiru ladonai shir chadash. Shiru ladonai kol haaretz. Shiru ladonai baruch shemo. Basru miyom liyom yeshuato. Sapru vagoyim gevodo bechol ha'amim niflota. Ki gadol Adonai hulal me'od norahu al kol Elohim. Let's continue silently. In the words of Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, each day is new and deserves a new song. Each stage of our religious development, as our sense of God's wonder deepens, we sing differently to God. We sing a new song. Page 14. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, umalo. Yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, umelo. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'amim be'emunato. We continue on page 15. We'll go silent for those who are davening the text. Please daven the text, and I'll take us through in the usual way, which is we want to sing a new song, but we also know that God's presence on earth is sometimes in ways invisible, even though it is the light that produces the shade we all live in. Sometimes we do not connect to the transcendent light that is illuminating everything because we are blocked. We live in the shade. And sometimes what is blocking us is injustice in this world. It's those who are sleeping in the dust that feel like they have no one to help them, those who are sick who feel no one is healing them, those whose hearts are broken who feels no one is helping to patch up the pieces into a whole. And that blocks us from connecting to the light. But we can start from knowing on page 16 that we know that there's a difference between good and evil. And we can start by acknowledging that. We can acknowledge that there are those who are feeling and connecting to the light even when we do not. And maybe we can follow them. So we can join in pronouncing God's holy name. And then on page 17, we can be at the new song we're supposed to be singing for the new day, the new song that is our connection to God in a way different than it's been in the past, whether when we were little or when we were young, when we were teenagers, or even how we connected to God yesterday. And we could go on to page 18 and we realize our singing, the song is not the center story of the universe. Actually, all of the earth is singing, and we are joining in with a great symphony already. And that actually empowers us rather than making us feel small. It should make us feel great to be playing our small part. It makes it less important whether I'm perfect at playing my guitar or my lyre, or whether my Hebrew is perfect, or whether I know what other people know. Because if I'm just one small part of a great chorus, a great symphony, then my playing is good enough. And so whatever I want to play, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready not to be in fear. I can hear everything around is clapping. Even what sounds like disharmony is actually, there's a deeper harmony and a connection, because we're all deeply interconnected and we're wishing for justice to reign. As we continue, we realize that even when the world is quaking, there is an invitation to a song that leads to God and leads to a love of justice and paths of truth. And acting righteously and justly in this world is seriously possible and demanded. And on page 20, we get to our ancestors did this, and it was as hard in their time as it is in ours, if not harder. And they were human beings like we are, and we may follow in their footsteps. We deserve to stand at the base of God's holy mountain as they did, and worship before the one we truly stand before. That takes us to page 21. And even in the tumults of life, there is a recreation from chaos to order, and we will create the order that needs to be created. And that takes us to page 22 as we prepare for Lachadodi with Ana Bechoach. Actually, I always get this melody wrong, but will you make me make it right? Because it's the one I'm not used to. Ana bechoach, bechoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha, tatir tzurura, kaberin, Tarenu Nora. Help me do that again. Ana bechoach, bechoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha, tatir tzurura, Rina amcha, sagvenu, tarenu, Let's just take that melody in our heads and go silently to the bottom of a page. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Let's welcome in the spirit of love, God's presence, with Lechadodi on page 23. Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila, lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha, ki mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת. Page 25, let's shift voices. Lecha dodi likra kahala, pene Shabbat nekabela, v'hayu limshisa, shohosahayif v'rachu kol, mivalayich asisalayich, Elohayich imsos chatan. Ahakala lecha dodi likra kahala, pene Shabbat nekabela, yamin usmol tifrotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi al yad ben yishai ben partzi v'nismecha. V'nagila lecha dodi likra kahala. Please rise. Let's welcome that spirit right into the sanctuary. Boi v'shalom atere b'hala gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala toch emunei aham segula boi chala echadodi likra kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. We may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. May the third verse of Lecha Dodi come true again, which we sang together, which is Shrine of our Sovereign, the Holy City. This was written, of course, in Svat, about the Holy City of Jerusalem and Israel. Rise up from Hafecha, Hafecha is the word for the destruction of the temple, from destruction, and fear no more. End your dwelling in the tear-filled valley, or with God's compassion, you will be upraised. Takes us to the Shabbat Psalm on page 27. So imagine this for a moment. Imagine that I'm doing a video for, I'm teaching I'm teaching where Eli used to be a long time ago. I'm teaching like 7th grade downstairs in the basement of Beth Israel. And imagine that in order to teach the Psalm, I put up an illustration of a tree, because it uses the metaphor of the tree. May we all grow tall and strong, like the strongest cedars of Lebanon. And I showed that picture you've probably seen a million times, where you see the tree above the soil and you see the tree beneath the soil. And you realize the trees are really, not every single one exactly like the images we're used to. Some have shallower roots than others. But for many trees, it's really a mirror image. It's like when we look at ourselves in water and we see a mirror image of ourselves, trees have that mirror image in the earth. And so like their root systems look like their branch systems upside down. You know, I would quote Pirates of the Caribbean, but just doesn't seem appropriate if you know the movies where they flip the ships upside down. And so that I think that we ourselves, I usually teach it for a different reason, but we ourselves, we're not always aware of where our roots are. And we are not always aware that our roots, because they're like invisible to our consciousness and our attention, they're deep down and they go very deep. Sometimes they go down deep into our subconscious and the way we were raised and memories we've long ago forgotten, but they're still nourishing us. Sometimes they're going back to teachings that we had from our childhoods. Sometimes they are actually connecting with other trees. They're having a whole party down there where, you know, they're sharing nourishment with all kinds of things. They have an ecosystem going that Harvey could explain in his spare time, and that Mary Oliver can write about. But like they're having their own party where they're like connecting with other roots of other systems, and we are they. Like we don't even realize. And so, you know, I do know that in a time like this, it's important to reconnect with community. But I'd love to think of it not as from the surface level, like I felt like I needed to reach out to that tree over there, but like we are in community even when we don't know it. Community is not just something we see. It's not just the visible. It is all of these weird ways of flipping time. There are childhoods. They are the invisible connections of love. They are a consciousness which takes strolls outside of our bodies. They are impressions coming in with us. And so as we join in physical community today, let's remember the roots that are going down. You don't have to be, you don't have to be Jewish to have your roots connected. The Jewish roots are connected with non-Jewish roots, and the non-Jewish roots are connected with the Jewish roots. Like, it's not just connecting with Jewish community, although that's a part of it. That's the part that's growing onto the surface. But I just think it's an important time to remember that we are deeply interconnected with our neighbors, with that which we grew up with our traditions. And we're deeply interconnected with every other Jew in this world and every other ancestor who ever existed, and every story about our ancestors that we are reliving even when we're not aware of it. So I hope people feel connected at this time. I'm going to share a brief poem that probably has nothing to do with that, but from Yehuda Amichai. Oh, I was going to read the Shabbat Psalm because it's about trees, but I'll start with the poem. It's Avinu Malkeinu. So our father, our king, our parent, our sovereign. This is a translation by Leon Wieseltier. My father, my king, baseless love and baseless hatred. For those who are not aware, the kinds of wars that are taking place now are often attributed in many ways to baseless hatred, the way we understand it in our tradition. My father, my king, baseless love, baseless hatred, have made my face resemble the face of a ruined land. The years have transformed me into a pain taster. Like a wine taster, I distinguish between varieties of silence, knowing what is dead and who. My father, my king, act so that my face will not be ripped apart by laughter or by tears. My father, my king, act so that I will not be tormented by all that befalls me between desire and sadness, and so that all that I do against my will seem like my will, and that my will be like flowers. Let's sing the end of the Shabbat Psalm on page 28. Tzadika tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon Iske shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvon b'seva t'shenim v'ra'nanim Yehu lehagid yashar Adonai tzuri tzuri Beth Israel congregation members, among others, this Shabbat, the yortzites of Zev, you can see some of the lights on, Zev Avraham, Mali Baghdad, Beverly Bennett, Kenneth Brader, Philip Brader, Sipora Berdanek, Samuel Cohen, Thomas Cook, Samuel Copy, Susan Feingold Schultz. Is that your grandmother? Oh, thanks for being here to say Kaddish for her. Nancy Helton, Abe Hertzberg, Isidore Hertzberg, Evelyn Hurwitz, Harold Lansky, Benjamin Lusky, Seymour Marcus, Yetta Rottenberg Miller, Dorothy Roth, Leon Siscon, Stanley Steinborn, Arlene Tolson, Rochel Siona Feldman, Urist, Philip Waldenberg, Hannah Wayne, Donald Weissman, Stephen Walensky, Sandra Kessel-Young, and Irving Zummer, as we continue to say Kaddish for Shulamit Weissman and Robert Haftel and Ellen Monto, Richard Burke, Eva Kalini, Susan Chapnick, Phyllis Horwitz, Bill Liberson, Tamar Weaver, Rita Stuhl, Harvey Aaron Scher, Bennett Stark, Dottie Berman, Martha Olenek, Bonnie Weinstein, Sheldon Berry, Naomi Metter, Shoshana Buckwalter, Sybil Mintz, Jeffrey Aronson, Mimi Karish, Andrea Meislish, Evelyn Botkin, Sylvia Gordon, Carl Cohen, Isadora Fisher, Christine Reed, Harry Celine, Frederick Reingold, Kevin Schiff, and Seymour Konigsberg. For those who are reciting the Mourner's Kaddish tonight, will you recite with me on page 30, Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra pirute, v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye decho beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam lamel mayam. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, brichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Aseh shalom b'mrama, yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, amen. Let's all stand. We'll follow direction at the bottom of the page to turn to page 39 and let's stop and have the service. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevora. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vahed. We may be seated. As we daven out the service, we're welcome to do liturgy, but we're also welcome to read the readings on the sides of the pages, which enhance and lift up our prayers. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch alenu le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai hamariv haravim. Page 40. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'orech yamenu v'orech yamenu u'vahem nege yomam v'layla v'yavelcha al sezim v'lomim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 41. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Olevavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharel. Continue 42 and forward silently. V'hayam. Adonai Elohechem Emet. V'melachos Zorkayim Aleinu. Shibchu v'elfu lishmahu. 44. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe Miriam b'nei Yisrael l'chan shabesimcha rabba v'yamru laham mi hamocha ba'eli l'Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tihiloto sefele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'yamaru Adonai imlo le'olam ba'ev v'ne'amar kifadaha Adonai Yaakov kodem v'chzak mimenu baruch atah Adonai ga'ahal Yisrael. As we continue our davening on page 45, I think it's pretty predictable what I'm going to ask you to direct your intention toward, since we are praying that God puts up a sukkah over Israel and over all of us, so that we may sleep in peace and that we may be protected from enemies and from disease and from attack and from hunger and from sorrow and all of these and other forms of evil forces. We know that what a sukkah looks like is it's more than 50% filtering out, but letting in some measure of filtering in. We hope that God provides a protection over Israel. May attack not fall on those who are innocent. May they survive. May even miracle happen, so that may everyone have a protection who deserves that protection. And may they be able to be spared the hunger and the sadness and distress. I mean, we can't practice anything if we don't have a goal. That is the goal. That is what we're striving for. That's what we're praying for. And if through the sections that are open, enemies go away, then may that happen as well. But we do not wish for any hurt to befall the innocent, of which we know the vast majority are. Let's pray silently. But we do not wish for any hurt to befall the innocent, of which we know the vast majority. Let's pray silently. Baruch atah Adonai, spread your canopy of peace over us, over all of your people in Israel, and over your holy land. Page 46. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam uven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinachash. On page 46, after the Kaddish, we head into silent prayer. I know you know that. And so I've already you've heard so much rabbi voice say, I'm hoarse. Forgive my voice deteriorating over this week. So I'm going to ask each of you, before we do the Chatzi Kaddish and you have your silent prayer time, either liturgy or your own personal prayers, I'm asking you to ground yourself. Like, why are you here tonight? What are you here to be praying for? From what place within you are you meant to be praying? So start from that place. So you speak in your voice. What is the direction for your prayer tonight? From what place are you coming? What are you here for? And then when it's time to pray from that spot. In what place within you are you meant to be praying? What is the direction for your prayer tonight? In what place are you praying? Please your eyes and hold that place. Yikada v'yikada shemer haban v'yamidibrak yirtei v'yamlit malchutei v'chayehon uv'yohomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael v'hagalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen yehi shmera b'mevara v'alam ulam me'amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmedu kedusha le'la min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram v'yama v'imheru. Your own silent prayers, whatever they are, could be liturgy from 47 and forward, or your own place. Well, we may be seated when we're finished, but there's no rush. Page 53. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam. Vayechal Elohim vayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishpot vayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayekadesh oto. Kivo Shabbat mikom melachto, Kivo Shabbat mikom melachto, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim laso. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim V'Aharetz, Magen Avot Bidvaro, Mechaye Meitim B'Mamaro, Ha'el Hakadosh She'en Kamohu, Hameniach Le'amo. Yom Shabbat Kodsho, Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Lefanav Na'avo B'yirav Pachad, Nodeh Lishmo B'chol Yom Tamid Be'on HaBrachot. El HaHoda'ot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat Umvarech Shevi Umeniach Bikdusha Li'amedu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'maaseh V'Reishim. Page 54, please read with me in the English. Our God and God of our ancestors, embrace our rest. Make us holy through your mitzvot, and let the Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness, and gladden us with your deliverance. Purify our hearts to serve you truly. Adonai, our God, lovingly and willingly grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, that the people Israel who make your name holy may find rest on this day. Ta Adonai, who makes Shabbat holy. For the Kaddish Shalem on the bottom 54, I just am in the mood to do it in English, but I don't want to do this translation, so give me some leeway here. May God's presence grow. May holiness increase in the world that has been created. May God's rules for this place of rules, for this kingdom, may God's rules for this world of order come to be seen by us as good, and God's purposes made real in our lifetime and in each one of our days and in each of the days of the house of Israel. Amen. May God's presence, may God's bounty, may God's increase in this world be acknowledged and felt and continued and supported forever and ever. May I come to feel blessing. May I come to feel a place of praising. May I come to feel the realness of wonder. May I come to feel transcendence as authentic and direct. May I come to feel elevation. May I come to feel that combination of beauty and honor, that when you see it, you're like, that is true beauty. And that's honor. May I come to feel exaltation. May I come to feel celebration as coming from this deepest holy place within us. Richu, may that be a source of blessing, even though all of those come from a source that go beyond any possible words of blessing or any possible words of gratitude, any possible sheer, any possible prayer, any possible poem, any possible perfect connection of words and music, and goes beyond any tushbacha, any like the words that you say when you're just full of trying to put words to the praise, and any nechama, any words of consoling that have ever been uttered in the history of the universe. May great peace come from here from the heavens and bring renewed life for us below. And may the force which makes peace in the transcendent realms bring peace for us here in our realm and in the realm of Israel. And thus we say, Amen. Please rise for Alinu 156. Alinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet kirula liotzer reshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mimahal ushchinatu zo b'gavei meromin u'Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu efesulato kakatu b'torato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mimah v'al ha'aretz mitachat einu. Hakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom ha'hu yiem Adonai echad u'shema We may be seated except for those who are reciting the Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. Let's recite together. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah v'yalma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. And don't go anywhere. I know there are lots of announcements. One of them is tomorrow night. There's an amazing, unique opportunities of hearing special compositions of Sephardic music in this sanctuary through the Michigan Music Society or the Michigan State College of Music and the JCC and Beth Israel. And so there's still tickets available if you want to join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I think it is. No, I don't think it's 7:30. Jerry, how dare you? Oh, 7:30.
But you can come at 7.
for my impure speech, Ashamdu. I'm sorry about that. And I'll be here, and that's an amazing opportunity. My Kabbalah class, or Kabbalah Mini Mester 1, is starting up on Monday night at. How do you sign up for that? Jerry, how do you sign up for that? You're so good. You've gotten all the answers so far.
Class.
And the other way you sign up for it, no, strangers online don't listen. If your friends online, you can listen, which is you can show up in 2010, where I'll be on the upper floor, where I'd like to teach on Monday night, starting at starting at 6:30. And so if you show up, I won't kick you out. And trust me, I know this sounds like a typical negativity coming from the rabbi. I'm working on my negativity, you all know. But often when I teach, there's a lot of people that they're the first time and not as many people the second session. And it's no reflection on me. I'm not being negative. It's just that Kabbalah can mean a million different things to a million different people. So that if you come, you're like, it's too crowded and I don't belong here. Make sure you come the second time, because that'll probably show you, what do you call it during shopping period? Remember back in our college days, didn't they get rid of it? They're getting rid of it somewhere, I read. I can't remember if it's U of M. But we used to have, maybe it's my old alma mater. I think they're getting rid of it. So you can't shop for a week. Everyone's shopping the first week, come to this, but also come to the second. So the Kabbalah course, I know it's like we're up to 50 people or something, but it'll thin out toward the second session, and or not, maybe it'll grow, and that'll be great. So that's on Monday night. Those are the big announcements. There are lots of other announcements, but I wanted to leave it at that. But before we leave, and I want to say goodbye to the people on Zoom, and Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for joining us. And for those who are saying Kaddish, Zichronam Livracha, may those you're praying for, may their memories bring blessings. I'll tell you that this grandmother, she's got a couple of blessings sitting right here. And so these things come true. So let me turn this off. Grandmother, she's got a couple of blessings sitting right here. And so these things come true. So let me turn this off.